with its Kickstarter, and again, you know, they're sticking it to the man, and the next minute the man buys it for £1 gazillion. And suddenly it goes from being like, you know, the outside raging against the machine to becoming part of the establishment. So interesting. Which is another, back to my graphics card. That's why at some point I will, because I'm looking at the Oculus. I think the developers have mentioned with this that if, obviously, because they're tied into the CryEngine. Look, it's beautiful. Can you see this engine? It looks lovely. They're tied in with CryEngine. So if CryEngine supports Oculus, I think the developers said, hopefully, fingers crossed, that for example, that Miscreated would support Oculus, which would be awesome. I am of an age where I remember things like Lawnmower Man. Remember the film? And like VR was always going to be that next big thing, and it's never happened. And in like possibly this year, if the Revive comes out from HTC stroke Valve, we'll be in a virtual reality world, and it'll be awesome, in my opinion. I think it'll be great. Dream come true. I'm hoping all this stuff gets here before I get too old to play it all. Because again, I am one of the first generation gamers, which you can probably tell if you ever watch me play, because my reactions are going to be shot to heck. I'd like to think that, like, you know, like in football, UK football, soccer, where you know, I can think that extra yard as opposed to be able to run it, which is rubbish because I can't. Therefore, I get shot by, like, you know, 12-year-olds who shouldn't be playing this game anyway. They should be doing their homework and going to bed. But yeah, to see all this sort of stuff come to fruition will be awesome. Coming from, like, say, I've played on my good old ZX81, Sinclair ZX81, or Spectrum 48K, Commodore 64, my Amiga, my Atari ST. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, to come from those, I think I saw something the other day, because I mean, I've got a Pebble watch. I'm sure it's got more processing. I saw an article. It's got more processing power than a Nintendo 64 or something, which is, like, again, ridiculous if you think about it. Where we are now is a heck of a thing. And say, even writing these games are just amazing. I think, and I don't take them for granted. I know. Hi, good evening, Savi Percola. I'm terrible with pronunciations. I do apologise. Yeah, it's really quiet. And if you've just jumped in, I am flying the flag for Miscreated, because I had a quick look. I'm on UK1. It's about half a dozen people, maybe 5-6. So I've jumped on, fancied the game. No one's streaming, so I thought I'll stream. I'll play the game, have a run around. Got no real super objectives this evening. Don't expect to get involved in any massive gunfights, so it's probably going to be quite quiet. But it's more safe. If you've not seen the game, or you want to see what the game looks like, and you would like to hear the witterings of middle-aged Englishmen, then welcome. Again, he was drifting down memory lane about his ZX81. God bless it. But yeah, just having a look at see if you've not seen the game, it's just worth checking out. I think it's awesome. and we're living a wonderful time, boys and girls. You shouldn't take it for granted. Because, like I say, I remember playing like my flight simulator on the ZX81 was hilariously bad. And again, because I play Elite, Dangerous. I jumped in as one of the like alpha backers or whatever for my sins, and I remember the original Elite, and I had the original Elite. I think you just don't realise how much imagination was required back in the day. I'm going to start sounding like some old timer. But yeah, back in the, you had to use your imagination, and I could only dream of stuff like this. Genuinely, in fact, so I was looking. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were talking about Doom, and I think, isn't there I've not seen it, so I think there's a clip. I think, who's doing it? Is it Bethesda? Am I hallucinating? I think Bethesda. Yeah, it's not Bohemia. Bethesda are doing a new Doom. Correct me if I'm wrong. And because they've done a clip for a trailer, and it's like 1 second of gameplay, and like, you know, a 40-second trailer with the titles and whatever. And they were saying like Doom was revolutionary. Back in, you don't realise. And I'm looking for, there's a book called Masters of Doom, which I'm looking at buying, which is sort of talking about the games industry at that time and the game, and say, you know, Doom. Without Doom, would we have this sort of stuff? Because the original Doom was a true classic, and I had the original Doom. I think I got the original shareware on my old PC. Was it be a 386, 286? I had an XT. The XT wouldn't have played any games, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So you kids today, you don't know, man. You weren't there. You can't handle the truth. Look, because I reckon I bet my monitor, and I always look at these, still like micros. Look, this was my like setup. In fact, that's like my little, like, I didn't have a VIC-20, but I did have a Commodore 64, and it kind of looked like that. My little CRT. It's funny now, isn't it, when you watch films and you can instantly date them. Yay! Good evening, Gentle. How you doing? Gentle was my partner in crime last night. He is my Kevin to my Whitney. So I'm Kevinless tonight, but so I'm again not a big big stream. Been playing late, literally just jumped on. It's quiet. There's not. We need more people, folks. We need more people in the servers. Jump in. I think it's UK1. More people playing, and more people streaming. And it's a tipping point, which I was saying is quite interesting, as to how these games, how they take off, how they get where they are. But I was watching an Elite stream the other day, and again a guy was having troubles with his connection, and hosted to another streamer, and the guy went from, like, you know, I don't know, 20 views or whatever to like 100, like nothing. And again he was like, oh, holy crap, how did that happen? And that's all it's going to take, isn't it, with Miscreated, that suddenly we get an influx of folks and the servers just fill up and then we can't get in, and it's like DayZ, certainly popular servers, you queue to get in, you can't even get in, that's the dream. So one day, let's hope that's where we get to, and say it, and I'll look back on I should save these streams where I'm moaning that there's no one here, and when I'm getting shot by little COD kiddies all the time, and they're giggling at me. I'll be like, remember the old days when it was lovely and quiet? But until then, I like to think I'm doing my bit. So say on the one, it really is quiet, boys and girls. I said we'll jump out in a bit, because even if our American cousins are on, I'll jump on an American server. Yeah, that's what I think. Ghetto Rob, good evening. Because I was like that with the last patch, you know, because the last patch was boats, and that was something to get excited about. And and again, they've extended the map a little bit and jumped back in. That when base building comes in, we're in for a different game. But I respect, the developers, because for my sins, like I said, I still have Rust in my inventory, and every now and again, just for giggles, I'll jump back in and see what the scoop is. And so Rust, I mean, Rust is fascinating. Again, another interesting story, isn't it? I think basically they just threw the game away and started again. So it shows you, is that the ultimate sort of, not admitting they got it wrong, but sort of turning around and saying, yeah, we cut the job up. Because I think I've talked before about this with Miscreated, and it just shows the problems that you're up against. Is that if you release too soon, maybe again before my time with the game, I'm a Johnny come lately, fly by night, but they released without VoIP and all sorts of issues with netcode and blah blah blah, and so a lot of the initial Steam reviews are, this game is rubbish because you can't do X, Y, and Z, even though it's an alpha or early alpha access, and then you kind of tainted for a good while with those early impressions, and then you're always you've got that sort of battle of saying, look, we've improved it, we've done this, we've done that. So yeah, I find it really interesting. It's like interesting times, genuinely. Which is, again, I feel like we're right in at the ground floor with this game, and fingers crossed it takes off. Might not, who knows? But I'm certainly enjoying the ride. And say, yeah, if the developers, obviously, because that was my point with that you were saying, Ghetto, or should I call you Rob? Is that because they've said they've had base building in from way back when, but they had all sorts of other issues, so they pulled it while they were sorting the other issues out. And say you come in with your base building, you get it wrong, you're in a world of pain, and people are telling you how rubbish your game is. Because surprisingly, the internet can get quite angry about all sorts of stuff. So you need to make damn sure you get it right, because if you don't, everyone will tell you. But yeah, base building would be awesome. A few little things to keep us interested, which I think they're doing good. It's been quiet. Imagine, I've not been scouring the forums to the same extent for a day or three. Again, I got giddy with. Again, that's the other thing. There's so many other games, isn't there? So much competition out there for our time, and our eyeballs, and our money. That I don't envy developers. It's a real struggle, I would imagine. You may notice at some point that I'm just running around in circles and I've got myself lost. Right, let's concentrate for a second. Again, if you've not been on my stream before, welcome. I am a total amateur. You can tell. Embarrassingly so. Hey, there you go. I can't do two things at once. So if I